What's happening, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I am Ryan Thomas, once again hopping on behind the mic. This is the first time I've been on the show since Christmas, since the Christmas holiday has obviously wrapped up. I have not been on the show for about a week now. It's been a little bit. Feels like it's been a little bit too long. Would have liked to hop back on the mic here a little bit sooner, but hopefully better late than never for most of you guys. Fire away some comments in the comment section below as this show is streamed live on Facebook and YouTube, of course. You can tweet at me on Twitter at Ryan Thomas Take if you're tuning into this show on the audio side of things. Thank you so much for tuning in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as Google Podcasts. This is a Week 16 news and notes around the National Football League. We are seeing quite a lot of action take place, being that the Buffalo Bills are in the thick of things within that top three of the AFC conference as a second seed, third seed. It's bounced back and forth. I get to flaunt one of my favorite Christmas presents, my Doug Flutie jersey. Thank you so much, Mom, for getting me the jersey. Shout out to Mom. She got me jersey of my favorite player as a kid. How sweet. How sweet. Life is good. So let's talk about the news and notes around the National Football League. Obviously, Week 16, we saw some NFL action on the. It was pretty of 10 days of the National Christmas Day. The Vikings, Alvin Kamara put forth one of the greatest single performances I've ever seen a player put forth in an individual game. 6 rushing touchdowns. If you had Alvin Kamara on your fantasy team, if you were going up against Alvin Kamara in your fantasy football championship, that is a really tough pill to swallow. Alvin Kamara had not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 rushing touchdowns, getting me 59.2 points in the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Fantasy Football League. Shout out to my opponent this week, Nadif Taylor, former wrestling teammate of mine. Someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose. Better me, the winner, than you. Sorry. I gotta say it. I don't want to go this far as the 7th seed only to lose to the 3rd seed. I took out the 2 seed. I took out the 1 seed. And, of course, I got to finish the job and take out the 3 seed. The road got easier for me seeding-wise as I inch closer to the finals. What an unprecedented run. I've never put on a run like that in my fantasy football playing history, in my fantasy football playing life, shall I say. Truly astounding that I was able to make it that far. As well, I let you guys know, fire off some comments. Any questions I will get to, so hammer those comments, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, whether you're tuning in on Facebook, and obviously, I always enjoy interacting with the Bills Mafia. So any questions in regards to our Bills, I will dive into this week's game a little bit, not as deeply as I will tomorrow, as I'm joined hopefully by guests tomorrow, depending on the schedules and things like that. We're going to make something happen. But, Keys to Victory, that show will be tomorrow due to the fact that the game is tomorrow. I cannot wait to hop on here, probably around 4 or 5 tomorrow for the Keys to Victory show. Stay tuned to that. But obviously the New Orleans Saints, 52-33, a big victory. Alvin Kamara, 6 touchdowns. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 47-7. Tom Brady lit up the scoreboard in the first half. He was pulled in the second half. Blaine Gabbert did a lot of relief work in this one because, let's face it, the Bucs will only go as far as Tom Brady allows them to go. So why leave Tom Brady out there only to be injured, possibly at 43 years old, in a game that you already got in the bag? The San Francisco 49ers put forth a great effort this past week against the Arizona Cardinals, beating the Cardinals 20-12. And they made some headlines this week when they claimed former first-round draft pick in the 2018 quarterback draft class, Josh Rosen. I want to touch on this first. Okay, obviously, on this show, over the years, in particular, I would say one of the biggest years in the history of the show was 2018. And it was due to the fact that, yes, I knew that the Buffalo Bills would be needing a quarterback, would be looking into taking a quarterback, whether it was Josh Allen, whether it was Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson, one of those guys was going to go to the Buffalo Bills. So I had to do my due diligence. I had to really look at all of these quarterbacks and say to myself, which one really fits not just the needs of the Buffalo Bills, but which one fits the city of Buffalo? Which one fits Western New York? And Josh Rosen, I don't know what it is about him. I can't put my finger on it. But he just does not, just didn't do it for me. And he still doesn't do it for me. And I have football friends, whether they're former guests of the show, whether they've just interacted with me, whether they're fans of the show or not, that say to me, Ryan, I think Josh Rosen got a little bit of a bad rap here. I think he deserves an opportunity. I think he was robbed of his opportunity. You look at the examples of Josh Rosen in his career, and you would say, yeah, you know what? You could be onto something. Arizona didn't exactly go well for Rosen, and most of that wasn't his fault. Miami, was that a situation that was tailor-made towards Rosen's success? No, it was not. Not in the slightest. So, you are onto something there. And in saying that, it makes a ton of sense. But I am also of the opinion that no rookie quarterback is put into a great situation. The teams that need quarterbacks are oftentimes terrible teams. Trevor Lawrence, most likely, who I will talk about as we dive into this show a little bit, as we go down the rundown here. Trevor Lawrence is going to go to a bad team. Jacksonville is not a good team. He will be asked to make Jacksonville a winner in relatively short, quick fashion. That is the expectation for any rookie quarterback that is picked in the first round, to learn on the fly and succeed within his rookie season. So the fact that Josh Rosen wasn't put on a good situation, no quarterback that is drafted in the first round by a bad team, especially in the top 10, is put in a great situation. So I think that's an excuse. I'm just going to put it to you like that. I think that that's an excuse. Furthermore, he gets an opportunity to go to Tampa Bay. They do not feel that Josh Rosen is worthy of being on their roster over Blaine Gabbert, to the point where Rosen is a practice squad player, which gives the other 31 teams the right to sign him to their active roster at any point during the regular season. They can make that choice. It took a team 15 weeks, mind you, 15 weeks into the season to say to themselves, maybe we'll give this guy an active roster look. And they're only giving him that active roster look due to the fact that Nick Mullins is out, due to the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is out. The San Francisco 49ers did something that I think any team would have done in their shoes. It's not even that they were enamored with Josh Rosen. It's more that, why would you not take a chance on a quarterback that was picked in the first round of a draft almost 3 years ago? Why would you not take a chance on that guy being available? Why would you not take a chance on that guy if he becomes available? And that's what the 49ers did. Is Josh Rosen starting for the Niners? No. C.J. Beathard is starting for the Niners. A mighty fall for a player that many Buffalo Bills fans wanted here. And I am so thankful that the Buffalo Bills didn't take him. I'm so thankful that, I'm not going to say they were listening to me, but I'm thankful that the football gods blessed Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane with the foresight to say, something's not right with this guy. Temperament, lack of leadership. Maybe he's a short fuse guy. Maybe he's not willing to learn. Maybe he thinks that there aren't too many weaknesses in his game when there actually are. I don't know what the situation is. Josh Rosen's the biggest mystery man in the National Football League. You don't know what the actual situation is as to why he is where he is today. 4 teams in 3 years. It's astounding. And what's more astounding is that you do have talent evaluators in this league that still say to themselves, Rosen could be great. I'm not saying that never say never. I'm saying never say never. I do think, you can't write off a guy when he's as young as Josh Rosen is. But you do have to admit, thus far, something has gone horribly wrong. Something has not gone right. And, for those of you that still think that Rosen could be decent in this league, I just say check the history thus far. It doesn't look too good for Josh Rosen. And I don't know if Josh Rosen has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback in the National Football League. And the Niners giving him this opportunity is not the opportunity that people thought. They hear this news and they say, oh, wow, he might start for the Niners. No, I don't see it. So that was the first, situation that popped up for me that I really wanted to discuss on the show in the Week 16 news and notes around the NFL. Obviously, that piqued my interest when I began to discuss the San Francisco 49ers battle this week. And they played very tough football, winning a tough game by a score of 20-12. The next game that I really need to dive into, there was a lot of controversy in some of these games this week, and the controversy that I'm referring to was actually in the Miami Dolphins Las Vegas Raiders game. The controversy is this. I'm wearing the jersey of a player that was a part of one of the biggest quarterback controversies of the last 25 years, and that's Doug Flutie. That's the jersey that I'm rocking right now. You can't really see it, but you can see the Mitchell & Ness white and red collar with the Mitchell & Ness 1998 Doug Flutie label, which is just awesome. 1998 Doug Flutie Mitchell & Ness NFL Legacy Edition jersey, which I love these jerseys. They're fantastic. But sidebar here, the controversy is within the fact that the Miami Dolphins played the Las Vegas Raiders in what was a back-and-forth game, especially in the fourth quarter. And it has to be said, I am not rooting for the Miami Dolphins, of course. I'm looking at this from an analytical point of view, putting on my football analyst hat. The question is Tua or Fitzpatrick? This is a question that I've asked myself the entire season. This is a question that Miami Dolphins fans right now are asking themselves. Who the hell should be the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins? On one hand, you have a franchise that wants to see what this first-round quarterback is made of. They want to see if this guy is worthy of the praise that he got in college. The problem is they should have known that he was worthy of that praise when they picked him. Tua Tagovailoa, if I mispronounced that, my apologies, but he was, is, and always will be one of the most polarizing prospects in recent college football history, and it is due to the fact that he is an injury-prone player. It is due to the fact that he is not a stretching the field type quarterback. He is not a quarterback that likes to take chances. He is a quarterback that is afraid to make mistakes. He was the same way at Alabama. He's the same way, obviously, now. Same way he is now is the same way he was at Bama, I should say. And if you don't have a quarterback in this league that's willing to take a chance, you can't win in this league. You can't. If you can't play it safe in today's National Football League, when you have the rules catered to the passing game, when you have rules that take away the dynamics of tight man-to-man coverage in this league, can't touch a guy within 5 yards. You can touch a guy within 5 yards, but beyond that, it's flag. You have a quarterback that's only throwing to the running back. You have a quarterback that's only throwing to the tight end. You have a quarterback that won't stretch the field to save his life. And then on the other end, you have a quarterback that has nothing to lose and everything to gain. A quarterback that is probably on his last legs. A quarterback that is probably inching closer and closer by the day to retirement. And a guy that is known as a gunslinger in this league, for better or for worse, a quarterback that is willing to take chances. And you go with the guy that plays it safe. Playing it safe doesn't win you games. Having a quarterback that takes chances to put you in position to win games puts you in position to win games. It's such a silly notion that Tua Tagovailoa was just thrusted in there when the Miami Dolphins were surging with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick was the catalyst, was the comeback kid, the comeback old man River at quarterback that was able to win the Miami Dolphins that game last night. There's no two ways about it. And for Miami to debate still internally and then come out, and basically say, let's not debate this. Let's make a decision right away and let's announce it to the media. Brian Flores, who I have a lot of respect for, I think he's a great coach. I think he's done a phenomenal job in this league as a head coach and reviving the Miami Dolphins. I will give him credit for that. Why is this such a tough decision? The Miami Dolphins team, seems to rally around the veteran, seems to want to play harder for the veteran. That is what I see. And really, frankly, I don't care if Miami makes the right decision or the wrong decision. For my rooting interests of being a Bills fan, I hope that Miami makes the wrong decision. They fall flat on their face. But in terms of doing what's right and putting out the right players at the right time, which team should put which team should put player XYZ in over the other, Fitz should be the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. It's not even a debate. And yet, he isn't. Ryan Fitzpatrick came into this game against the Raiders cold off the couch, off the bench, 9 of 13, 182 yards, and a touchdown. Tua threw for 9 more pass attempts, had half as many yards as Fitzpatrick, and double the completions. So his yards per pass attempt was ridiculously low, almost at a gun-shy, dare I say, Trent Edwards-esque level, whereas Ryan Fitzpatrick's going for broke. Ryan Fitzpatrick's trying to win games to bookend his career. And Miami responded. Myles Gaskin, 14 carries, 87 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Thank you to Myles Gaskin. He propelled me to probably my 6th fantasy football championship in my longtime fantasy league. But this was an extremely frustrating topic to even hear about. To even hear that the Dolphins are debating this blows my mind. And for a team that needs to win to go into the playoffs, I love the fact that the Buffalo Bills are playing Tua next week. I'm not afraid of Tua in the slightest. As of now, Tua looks like a proverbial bust. I don't see anything in Tua's game that scares me as of now. Now, that could obviously change. To use the B word, to use the word bust this soon about a player is bold, but show me where Tua has looked elite. Show me where Tua has looked like a guy that should have been taken ahead of Justin Herbert. What a mistake so far Miami made, I think, taking Tua over Herbert. Now, situations present themselves. Herbert was put in an offensive situation that helped his game, no doubt about it. Tua was put in a situation where, Miami really wanted him and they had interest in him for a long time, dating back to, a couple years ago at Bama when Jalen Hurts was still a part of the Crimson Tide. So, I think that it is what it is on one hand, but on another hand, it's Miami needs to really get their heads out of their butts and make the right decision here for their team if they want to be in the playoffs. The Ravens got a solid victory over the New York Giants, 27-13. Lamar Jackson looked really good in this one. I thought that the last few weeks, Lamar Jackson has somewhat returned to his MVP form. And I thought for a minute there, I made a massive mistake taking Lamar Jackson in my fantasy league. Running the ball today, he had 13 carries for 80 yards, but he had 183 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and Lamar's looked great. Mark Andrews, had a good day. Gus Edwards had a great day. The next story, that I have to bring up here on the show is the laughable circumstance that I heard earlier today. I didn't really watch much football today. I watched football on Christmas Day yesterday, or the day before yesterday, pardon me. Watched football yesterday as well. But this game I had my eyes locked onto, and it was the Cleveland Browns versus the New York Jets, and the Browns lose to the Jets. They lost to the Jets. I laughed my ass off when I heard that the Browns lost to the Jets. I'm sorry. I know that they had a COVID situation that propped up. We got a situation. It was COVID in the wide receiver room of the Cleveland Browns organization. Guys like Jarvis Landry were out. And you were throwing names out there that I'd never heard of. And I follow every team. I follow this league extremely closely. And when I saw that the Browns had guys that were on their practice squad lining up against the Jets, I even still hammered the Browns pick in my pick'em leagues because the Jets are that bad. And Baker Mayfield, I thought, would have a better day. To me, this loss falls back to the point that Baker Mayfield is extremely overrated, is far too much highly propped up to be considered one of the better quarterbacks in this league. There were a lot of errant throws that he made in this game, and there were moments where the Browns just looked flat. And when you look flat against the Jets, the fact that the Jets are playing to win, I respect it, but they blew the biggest opportunity that this franchise, the Jets franchise, has had in at least 20 plus years. They blew it again. You go back to, I believe it was 1997. If my memory serves me right. Peyton Manning was wondering whether or not he should come out of Tennessee and not play the full 4 years as a Tennessee Volunteer and declare for the National Football League draft. The Jets blew that opportunity too. Blew that number one pick away. And Peyton Manning, decides to stay in school, I believe, and then comes out the next year and gets picked by the Colts. The rest is history, as they say. But for the New York Jets to win games to bookend this season, which was an abysmal season, I think that this is just pure New York Jets. I mean, it couldn't get any more ironic in the fact that the Jets have made these draft blunders, these head coaching just catastrophes, and yet the Jets find a way to win back-to-back weeks in two games that were meaningless to them. I respect it from a competitive spirit standpoint that, yeah, there are some guys on this team, the Frank Gores, the Marcus Mays, that wanted to win, and they were frustrated, and they wanted to get back to, being respected. I get that. But threw away a real big opportunity. But to me, when the whole talk started that the Jets were interested in, tanking, rumor mills swirling about the Jets tanking, I thought, don't they already have a quarterback? Well, they have a quarterback that they've pretty much failed during his entire career, a quarterback that they've put zero weapons around, a quarterback that they've pointed the finger at and blamed for their own ineptitude. That's not fair to Sam Darnold. It's not fair to Sam Darnold at all. I know that Sam Darnold is somewhat a turnover machine. Okay, I understand that very well. But at the same time, you picked him. You picked him a couple years ago, and because you picked him and things haven't worked out, that doesn't mean that you can just toss him aside like he's nothing. That, to me, I don't like that mindset within the Jets fan base, and especially within the Jets organization. I know that Trevor Lawrence is a very good prospect. I've watched him almost every week since his first start at Clemson. I know that this guy could potentially be the next Peyton Manning in the National Football League, and that's high praise. This guy's the best prospect at the quarterback position to enter the draft since Andrew Luck, maybe even better than Joe Burrow. And he deserves to go to a team that needs him, that wants him. The Jets needed him, I guess, in their eyes. They definitely wanted him. But in my eyes, did the Jets need him? No, they didn't. They don't. The team that needs him and the team that is ultimately going to get him is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, we can say with utmost certainty that is going to happen, that this is going to take place, that Trevor Lawrence will go to the Jags. And I put the question mark there because, of course, draft day is the most entertaining night of the NFL offseason. Of course, there is no close second. There is no second. The NFL draft is the best. I honestly, this is crazy. I know you guys will think I'm crazy for saying this, but I like the NFL draft more than the Super Bowl because I love to see how these teams are built or torn apart. I like to see history play itself out. Obviously, I like the NFL draft a little bit more due to the fact that the Bills have been such a basement-dwelling franchise for the last 25 years. That's one of the only nights that I can actually cheer on my team on a national stage among the other 31 teams and kind of see how these teams are built and how these GMs think and what type of moves are made to make these teams better, what type of moves are made to make these teams worse. I find that fascinating. But Trevor Lawrence to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, when we talked about Trevor Lawrence on the show before, you guys heard me kind of go back and forth on my thoughts on Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, I think the world of him. I think he's a great prospect. I think he's got all the tools physically and mentally to be a great quarterback in this league for many, many years, 15, maybe even 20 years, especially in today's NFL. For Trevor Lawrence to essentially be guaranteed to be going to Jacksonville, if he does in fact declare, he still has another year of college eligibility. I highly doubt Trevor Lawrence will stay in school. I would say it's about a 70-30, decision right now that Trevor Lawrence is actually going to, declare for the NFL draft in February, January, and say, I'm going to be in the NFL draft. He is instantly the first overall pick in this draft. It is zero debating it, of course. And now that the Jacksonville Jaguars are locked, have clinched that first overall pick, now that the Jets did beat the Browns today, that the Browns did laughably lose to the Jets despite the circumstances, let's just talk about Trevor Lawrence to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a minute and say to ourselves, I honestly think that Trevor Lawrence going to the Jets would have been newsworthy. Of course, it's the Big Apple. The New York Jets dominate the headlines, even though it's not the Big Apple. It is the media market that is East Rutherford, New Jersey, New York City, the whole geography cluster, of these New York, New Jersey teams always baffles me. The only team in New York is the team that is represented behind me, the Buffalo, New York Bills, not the East Rutherford, New Jersey, New York Jets, or East Rutherford, New Jersey, New York Giants. I don't get that. I've never understood it, but it is what it is. Sidebar there. But I think that Trevor Lawrence going to the Jacksonville Jaguars is probably one of the best things to happen to the National Football League in quite a long time. Jacksonville has always been someone on the outside looking in, one of the small market teams in the league, one of the teams that have tried to find somewhat of an identity as a organization to the point where they have tested the international waters. They have said, well, let's go to London. Let's play some games over there. Let's see if we can cultivate a fan base over there. And it's been mixed. They have tried to put forth a productive franchise for really since its inception. And obviously, I'm a little bit salty towards Jacksonville because they did beat us in the playoffs a couple years ago in the Tyrod Taylor era. But I think Trevor Lawrence going to the Jacksonville Jaguars is great for the National Football League. It's great for Trevor Lawrence, and it's great, obviously, for Jacksonville. And with the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars hold the power of that pick, that number one overall pick, they've clinched it. They now hold the power to really command the attention of any aspiring head coach in the National Football League, any aspiring general manager in the National Football League. Every which scenario is coming at me. Brian Daboll could leave the Buffalo Bills and become the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars in large part due to the fact that Trevor Lawrence is going to be his quarterback. I could say the same thing for Daboll. I could say the same thing for Eric Bieniemy of the Kansas City Chiefs, the offensive coordinator there. I could say the same thing for any former GM that is looking to get back into the league as a GM, whether it's Jerry Reese, Doug Whaley, name that Bills fans know. There are a lot of guys that are, I guess, filtering themselves through the circuit that is the NFL coaching GM circuit. We refer to this as a fraternity of coaches. There's coaches that get fired, and then they're coaching somewhere else. Greg Williams is a perfect example of that, and you guys understand me when I'm talking about that. So I think it's great that Trevor Lawrence is most likely going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think that he handled it perfectly in terms of all of the chit-chat about where is he going, why, what does he think about Jacksonville, what does he think about going to the Jets. He has just stayed focused on the task at hand, which is the task at hand of winning Clemson another national championship, beating the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the ACC title game, just completely tuning out all the naysayers and all the noise and just all of the, I would say, negativity, because it's something that isn't even on Trevor Lawrence's radar. For the utmost professional of reasons, Trevor Lawrence has been able to stay focused. And I respect him. I respect him greatly. I think he's going to be a great player in this league for a long time. And I think Jacksonville is an awesome fit. James Robinson has been my favorite story of the 2020 NFL season. Laviska Shenault Jr. was a rookie wide receiver that was brought in that did some decent things. DJ Chark is a long, lanky wide receiver that can go up and get the ball. I think Trevor Lawrence actually would go to a team with some pieces on it, pieces on the offensive line as well. Their tackle situation's decent. And really, with all the cap space, all the picks that the Jacksonville Jaguars have, I think that they're set up to rebuild quickly. Their whole team is going to look completely different next season, and obviously the season after that and so forth. So I will say congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that's great for them that Trevor Lawrence will fall right into their lap, and I'm happy that he's not going to the Jets, who don't even deserve Sam Darnold, let alone Trevor Lawrence. So here we are. The talking point of the show. Where do we stand with the Buffalo Bills and their AFC position? So the Pittsburgh Steelers did win today. Unfortunately, they did win 24-28, or 28-24, I should say. Steelers winning 28-24. They ran the ball a little bit better today. Big Ben got it out into the flat a little bit better today than he had the last few weeks. In particular, this Steelers defensive line was able to penetrate the offensive line of the Colts and shake up the sitting duck that is Old Man River, Phillip Rivers, in the backfield. And I think that this was a game that I watched, and this was a game that I said to myself, you have not one but two quarterbacks that should be done after this season. Big Ben, with all due respect to Big Ben and Phillip Rivers, they are shells of themselves out there. Big Ben cannot drive the football down the field the way that he used to. Phillip Rivers does not have the timing on his throws that he used to. These guys are just not what they once were, and Father Time is undefeated and undisputed, so it is not an insult on my end, that says that they're shot or they're done. It's just what I see compared to what they were. They're just not the same quarterbacks that they were. And, that's what I saw. I would be ecstatic if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan and we draw the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Indianapolis Colts in any moment of this playoff bracket. I would be elated. I'm not afraid of the Steelers defense. I'm certainly not afraid of the Colts defense. I know the Colts defense has had success this year, but I'm not afraid of really any defense in the AFC. If Buffalo's offense has performed the way that it has these last few weeks, if it continues to, then we're in really, really good shape. And we're going to see, we're going to find out. Right now, the Bills are on the outside looking into that second seed. Pittsburgh does take ownership back of that second seed. Buffalo goes into the Monday Night Football matchup against the New England Patriots and Cam Newton, really with that second seed position on the line. If Buffalo can win this game tomorrow night, they take back that second spot, and the Steelers would move back down to number 3. So for all of you guys saying, well, let's rest our starters. We can't rest our starters this week. We might be able to next week. That's up to the coaches. That's up to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane and the Bills organization as to whether or not they bench players following next week's game or heading into next week's game. They could. But knowing that Miami's got something on the line, I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to smack the smug look off of their faces and prevent them from going to the playoffs. That's fun, right? That's worth seeing the starters out there. But I have the keys to victory for next week's game that I do not want to dive into on this show. I want to wait till tomorrow afternoon. So I'm asking you guys to give me one more day, game day. Let me give you my keys to victory then. So other news and notes around the league, the Chicago Bears layeth the smackdown on the Jacksonville Jaguars 41-17. Mitch Trubisky, I don't know if I can say Mitch Trubisky is back, but I can say the Bears waited ever so patiently for the arrival of Mitch Trubisky. I'm not even going to say that Mitch Trubisky's arrived, but he's closer to arriving now than he ever has been. 24-35, over 265 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 1 INT. David Montgomery has been hot down the stretch, one of the best running backs in the National Football League these last few weeks. And the Bears are now 8-7 in the thick of things for the NFC wildcard round playoff push. And the Cincinnati Bengals, shockingly, I'm not saying shockingly because the Texans are good, but Brandon Allen, 29-37, 371 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. And what happened? What happened to this Houston Texans defense? They were nowhere to be found today. J.J. Watt, I didn't see him out there, not making the plays that he normally does. This Texans defense was lit up like a Christmas tree, and the Bengals win this one. Panthers and the Washington football team are going at it. Carolina is leading 20-6. The LA Chargers are tied with Denver with 45 seconds left to go, and it looks like the Chargers are in position to take this ball down the field. We'll see what happens there. Dallas is up 30-17 on the Philadelphia Eagles, mounting a serious comeback. Andy Dalton, 21 of 28 with 371 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. And where is Ezekiel Elliott? But Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper, over 100 yards each for those 2 receivers on the day. Gallup, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 65 yards on the day and a touchdown as well. So Dallas came roaring back into this one, and the Seattle Seahawks hold a thin lead, very small lead over the LA Rams, 13-9. Tonight we got the Titans, the Tennessee Titans, and the Green Bay Packers going to battle on Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, Derrick Henry, those are the storyline players of that one. I'm going to go with the Packers in this one. But if there's anybody that could keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, it is Derrick Henry. And then obviously Monday night, tomorrow night, our Buffalo Bills, our beloved Buffalo Bills, take on the New England Patriots and the evil emperor that is Bill Belichick. I'm very much looking forward to breaking down this game. Be right back on here tomorrow to break it down for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the news and notes around the National Football League, as well as my take on some of the biggest storylines that the league has presented to us. Tua or Fitzpatrick, I'm going Fitzy all day long. And then as far as the Browns losing to the Jets, what does it mean for the Jets and their future? And they tried to sell me on Adam Gase for another season next year in 2021. I would get my sign, I would park my car, and I would go protest outside the stadium. The fact that these Jets fans are being just spoon-fed the idea that Adam Gase is a decent head coach in this league, some of which are believing it, is mind-blowing. It's baffling. Adam Gase is the worst head coach in this league currently, and he's one of the worst head coaches in the National Football League's history, dating back to 2000, in this millennium, in this century thus far. From 2000 to 2020, Adam Gase, to me, is the worst head coach in the league. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Go Bills. Tune in tomorrow, my Keys to Victory show. You will enjoy it. I guarantee it. Go Bills.